it's a temptation, right? It's a temptation that I need to resist versus an opportunity that I get to seize. Welcome to the Creative Mindset Podcast. My name is Isolde Trachtenberg, and I'm super happy you're here. On the show, I focus on creative thinking, problem solving, and living. Most often, I'll discuss how to ignite inspiration, meet challenges, and achieve goals through creative thinking. Sometimes I'll have guests who give their perspective. Usually, it's people who are already living their best and most creative lives. Okay, let's get to it. Hello, and welcome to the Creative Mindset Podcast. My name is Isolde Trachtenberg, and I am super happy you're here. This is, I guess, the beginning of week 2 of the quarantine, the sort of social distancing that's going to help everyone stay healthier and safer. So today I wanted to talk about something that I am doing. I'm basically developing all of these habits that allow me to keep myself going and keep interested in whatever's going on. And I have projects I want to do, like I want to sew a new, I forget what it's called, comforter for our bed. And I am trying to work out every single day. And there are certain things that, to sort of develop a routine that I can keep improving myself while I go. So the comforter, I'm looking literally in my office, I'm looking at the fabric for the comforter. It's this gorgeous purple fabric, and I'm very excited to do the work. I just have to clear out enough space in the living room to lay it out. But the point is that this is something I'm planning on doing over these next few weeks while we're all in self-quarantine mode. And I recognize that many of us are going to be hurting financially, so I'm hoping that we get the aid we need in order to do that, to feel a lack of stress while we are in this sort of enforced, if you will, isolation. So last week I talked about ways to keep your mind being creative, and this week I want to talk a little bit more about other aspects of life. So this this whole thing is based on the fact that I'm taking the time every morning and every evening to read entries in Tim Ferriss's book, Tribe of Mentors. He gathered over 100 thought leaders and high achievers and asked them a set of, 11 questions. And the people who answered, he put everything all together into a book. And a quote from Rabbi Lord Jonathan Sacks really stuck with me. And that is, I'm actually not going to give you the exact quote, but he talks about how we need to look at things as something that's an opportunity that we might seize versus a temptation that we might resist. So as you're planning your life, as you're planning your day, everything that you have to do or want to do is part of a progression, right? And so that's really cool. But what about those temptations that come along the way? As you're doing your day, you get tempted. I get tempted by my phone and checking in on social media. And is that an opportunity or is it a temptation? Most of the time for me, it's a temptation, right? It's a temptation that I need to resist versus an opportunity that I get to seize. But there are some of us, and actually it's funny, I'm sort of included in this, for whom social media is part of their work, part of their business. Most of us have something to do with social media now as we go about our lives, right? We either check in with family and friends, and we might even use social media to further our creative or career goals. For me, last night I hosted a virtual happy hour with my sisters and my best friend and another dear friend and my husband, right? So I actually said, hey, let's have a virtual happy hour. We all got a drink. We all met up at 5:00 and we chatted for a few minutes, just looking at each other in video. My older sister said, you know what? We need to do this when we're not in self-isolation. And I agree. We don't live anywhere near the same place. So taking that time to go, hey, let's check in, that's an opportunity to seize, right? And in thinking of whether or not I should do it, I didn't even have to worry about whether or not I needed to resist that reaching out. So I think one of the things that we can do for ourselves as we're living in this new future is to work on who we are and what we want. For me last night, it was all about spending time with my family. This Tribe of Mentors thing is a practice I want to get into, reading something that enriches my mind first thing in the morning and right before I go to bed, because I want it to take me away from the stuff that could be stressing me out, and I want it to take me away from the stuff that is sort of petty in my life, that I don't need to be paying attention to, but yet I do. And it's so important for me right now as I'm working on a whole bunch of new projects, which I now have time to do because of this. And this is another one of those opportunity to be seized moments. It's like, yeah, I know that I'm not going anywhere, and I have to admit, really sad that I'm missing springtime in New York, which is my first year living here, and I'm like, and I can't even go outside. So I'm getting my springtime by watching the blossoms bloom in a tree in my neighbor's backyard here in Brooklyn, New York. And it's what I have to do, right? It's what we all have to do to take care of ourselves, to take care of others. We need to be isolating ourselves and not spreading this contagion. So yeah, we're all buckling down, and we're making sure as much as possible, I hope, that we are minimizing contact with everyone else so that we can beat this thing. And yet that means a lot of time spent at home. And I was checking in with my sisters and what are they doing, and my friends, and some of them are getting to work at home. My older sister's a doctor, so she's having to go into work and do the work in the hospital. And another friend she said, I feel like a stay-at-home mom again. I'm getting to spend time with my kids, and that is amazing. And so I think it's a mindset shift that this is in some ways an opportunity to be seized on. And I get it that there's no money coming in for so many of us. I completely understand that. And yet here we are. So it's I guess a make the best of it kind of situation. And so I'm taking the time to write. I'm taking the time to make a comforter, a spring and summer comforter for the bed. And I'm also taking time to work out every single day. And I'm doing this interesting thing. I've started doing high-intensity interval training with low weights. Because of my hypothyroidism, I need to have lower weights. But yeah, so every single day I'm doing either 15 to 30 minutes of high-intensity interval training, and then either 15 to 30 minutes of yoga. And I'm varying that based on which one I want to do more of today. And the max is 45 minutes. Today I'm going to do a full 45-minute yoga workout, and I'm foregoing the weights. And it's a way of sort of getting more in touch with my body. What's going on with my body? What does it need? And my muscles are still feeling a little bit stressed from the weights, from the weight-bearing exercises. So I'm like, okay. In listening to myself, in deepening my own self-knowledge, I am working on knowing myself better and knowing what my body, what I need in the moment. And I'm also trying not to worry. And this brings me to another entry in Tim Ferriss's Tribe of Mentors. And Tim, if for whatever reason you ever hear this episode, thank you so much for writing that, because, and I think I'm going to need to go look up this gentleman's name because I don't remember it. Hold on. Okay, so the gentleman's name, now that I'm back, is Andrew Ross Sorkin. And in the Tribe of Mentors entry that he filled out, he talked about one of his favorite quotes, and it actually stuck with me when I heard it. It stuck with me so hard that I think I even did a podcast episode and a blog post about it. There's a moment at which two characters are talking, and one of them is facing potential execution for treason, and the other one, played by Tom Hanks, says to him, "Wait, aren't you worried?" And the guy goes, "Would it help? If it would help for me to worry, I'd gladly worry." And that moment when he said, wait, aren't you worried? And the guy responded, "Would it help?" It blew my mind. And Andrew Sorkin pointed out that exact same moment in the movie as something that stayed with him. And I actually tweeted to him about it and went, that really touched me too. And I still think about it. Whenever I start getting anxious or worried, I replay that scene in my head because it's so important. What help does it give? What does it do for us to worry? What is it helping? It's actually not. In fact, it's the opposite, right? It stresses you out. It increases your anxiety levels. It raises your cortisol, and it wastes your energy. Being prepared, that's great. Acting from that state of being prepared, also great. Being aware of your situation, phenomenal. But worrying about it, that's stressing about something that hasn't happened yet, and it's not helpful. So I'm finding all of these gems in doing this morning and evening practice, in addition to my meditation, that is helping me remember not to worry, to keep doing what I'm doing, to keep working through the things I need to work through, and to not stress myself out with something that might or might not happen. And I get it. Again, I get it that I am in a position of privilege because I have a place to live and I am able in some ways to work from home. And if I'm not working, I'm not getting paid. I don't work for anyone. I work for myself. So I get it completely that there is a lot of cause for concern and planning. And as much as possible, people are reaching out to help each other. There's a wonderful program that was started here by 2 students in Bushwick, Brooklyn, where I live. That's it's called Invisible Hands Deliver, and I'm a volunteer. I haven't done a delivery yet, but it's really cool. I'm excited to do it. What it is basically people who are at risk and in need, who really can't leave their houses, can get their groceries delivered or their prescriptions or whatever it is they need. They can get that done without having to leave and without exposing themselves to contagions. And these 2 college students just went, you know what, I'm going to start this. So they started it, and now it apparently is going worldwide. There are lots of other cities that are doing this exact same thing. So it's a way for us to get out of our own heads and help someone else. And they say the best way, or at least one of the best ways to help yourself, is by helping someone else. It's a way to boost your mood and elevate your levels of feeling good. Let's call it what it is, by helping someone else. So if you want to volunteer, if you're in New York or maybe one of the other chapters that's springing up, invisiblehandsdeliver.org, I think, is the website, and I highly recommend check it out. And if you are one of the people who needs help, please consider signing up so that you can get things delivered if you need them, because this is the time for us to do that. This is the time for us to come together and help those who need helping. And the last thing I want to say is animals, critters. If you can give money, great. If you can give even more the ability to foster an animal, please consider doing that. The shelters really need help with that too, because A, the critters need it, and B, there is nothing like having a kitty or a puppy come snuggle next to you when you are spending time in this social distancing. It's a wonderful and amazing thing to do. So these are some of the strategies I wanted to talk to you about today that you might be able to employ and seize the opportunity for what it is. And I get it, and I'm not trying to make light of anybody who's having a hard time. I understand that part of it, but I also understand that those of us who can give, and those of us who can take this time to improve our experience and to build skills, practice musical instruments, draw, dance, work out, read books, read to others, anything you want. In fact, I just got myself a great idea. I think I'm going to start doing a nightly read of Fiddler's Talisman on Facebook Live. I think I am. I'm going to read my books out loud on Facebook Live every evening, starting tonight. I'm going to read the first chapter of my first book, The Fiddler's Talisman, tonight. And I hope you enjoy it. Yeah. And tonight, by the way, I might just publish this podcast today. Today is Sunday, the 22nd of March, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to publish a podcast today, and that way, if you happen to hear it, I'm going to be reading The Fiddler's Talisman starting tonight on Facebook Live. We're going to say 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Okay, this is Isolde Trachtenberg. I hope that you've enjoyed today's podcast episode of the Creative Mindset Podcast. Remember, the creative mindset is all about thinking differently. It's about creating the life you want by solving problems more ingeniously, and by living the life you dream of. Until next time, wash your hands.
Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. Please subscribe to the podcast if you're new, and please tell your friends about the community we're building here. Today's episode was produced by Isolde Trachtenberg and is copyright Isolde Trachtenberg 2020. Today's music was from Kevin MacLeod, Laser Groove, and Ave Marimba, brought to you by Creative Commons License 3.0. As always, please remember this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Past performance does not guarantee future results, although we can always hope. Until next time, I send you all of my love.